Alright people, welcome to this last video in the Cyber Kill Chain series here on this channel. So today we are going to take a look at the last step, action on objectives. So we covered the entire kill chain from start to finish, and here let me first copy that as a page here, and then we see and then we just see what we can talk about today. This is the least technical topic that we have in this series, I think, next to reconnaissance. So the attacker at this point has achieved everything. Let's go back to one of the first pages here. This is the full kill chain, and the attacker achieved all of the steps. He did reconnaissance, so he found the target. He built a suitable weapon, USB stick, email, whatever, PDF file. He managed to deliver that. The delivery got opened, so the exploitation took place. After the exploitation, the hacker managed to install the malware successfully on the target. Managed then to create a channel of communication. And now we are here. What now? So you did all of these technical steps, but what's happening now? This is what we are looking today. So we are gonna take a look at first of all, let me see. So we are going to take a look at some sources on AOO. Okay, so we call it AOO for now, action on objective. So we read some sources on that. Then we take a look at protection goals in cyber, because those are related to what the hacker tries to do. Then I found something, the types of cyber attacks, or let's say common types of attacks. We have that here. Then I found something like the 7 steps of a cyber attack. That's also interesting. That's this. It's something else. We have principles from the government, and then we have protection goals. Let's see. Yeah, but one after the other. So let's start on reading some sources on this topic. So I have here cybersecurity principles, the 7 steps, a comprehensive guide. So yeah, let's start with this one, and then we just move on step after step. So reading on. Okay. So the first source I have is, it's a little bit, not so much, but we're gonna look at all of that. So this is SecTP, the source, and I want to point out that one thing out. I don't expect here to be a lot of content, because this step is the least technical, and we are going to read the basic explanations that other people have come up with, and then I will see. So this is SecTP, and on step 7, as far as I can tell from this URL here, they write, in the final phase, attackers fulfill the actual objectives, be it data exploitation, sabotage, or other malicious actions. And they are very right with that. So, oh, I got to sneeze. Oh, sorry, I had to sneeze. Yeah, so they are very right with the sentence here. There's not much you can do wrong. It's data exploitation, sabotage, and this other malicious actions. We try to put some light on that today as well. So what is this other malicious action? And our goal of the kill chain, what is the value of even using a model like that? Well, the value is to think like an attacker. So here in this step, this is your chance to see if you have the instinct to catch an attacker. So what you can do now is stop the video for a moment and think for yourself, what attacks would you expect if you were the hacker? And there you go, you infiltrated the entire company. What would you like to do now in that company with that access, with that remote control that you managed to accomplish? So think for a moment, try to get us some ideas, because in the end, what I do now in this, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes, maybe 40, what I do now is nothing else. I also just sit down and think about what would I steal in that company now. Yeah. Yes, so I grab myself a good tea here. Do the same, make yourself comfortable. We are not in a hurry as usual. We take our time. But yeah, this is the source right here. So let me close it. As far as I can tell, there's nothing else on that page. Then I found something. It's called Cyber, not Cyber Angel, Sybil Angel. Interesting URL. So Sybil Angel, not Cyber. But okay, that's what it is. So now let's see what they write about the step 7. There we go. So they have a little bit more text, but it varies. It's not a big deal to write a lot. So we are not measuring quality by the way how much somebody wrote about a topic. That's that's per definition not quality, that's quantity. We don't care about quantity so much, but people do. Okay, I remember in school when I wrote one page and they expected two, they received a bad grade. They measured things by quantity. Don't do that. At university, they sadly do the same thing. So if you have to write a, let's say, bachelor thesis and you ask them how many pages is it, they shy away from that question because they very well understand that they can't tell you 15 pages and that's it, or 30. This would be a quantitative measurement, and we don't measure scientific results by quantity. What is that? But still, you get sort of an idea. So they find ways to tell you indirectly how much they expect. And the bachelor thesis today, as far as I can tell, is around, I think, 30 to 50 pages, something like that. A master's thesis is around 60 to 80 pages, and there you have the quantities. Um, and that's a big mistake, okay? You can write a bachelor thesis on half of a page, I believe, if it's really a groundbreaking, well, uh, well-researched topic. You don't need a whole lot. That's why we are happy with a sentence like this. If it hits the nail right on the head, it's good. Alright, let's read what Sybil Angel has to say. Once all the previous steps are completed, advanced persistent threats finally begin to work on their initial objectives. And that's really good. So before the attacker engaged in this process of establishing all of these 7 or 6 steps, before even starting this, there was an initial objective in mind. They thought, okay, this company is worth being attacked, and only then they initiated the attack. So in this last step, they finally get to harvest the the reward. So they worked hard for this, and this is the step where to take the crown jewels, the information that you wanted. So this is really, really well written here. Uh, the phased approach is supported by the hypothesis that if a defender is able to detect and document one of the steps used in the APT attack, a similar intrusion will ultimately fail. I got to read that again, this was a complicated sentence. So there is a hypothesis that if a defender is able to detect and document one of the steps, a similar intrusion will ultimately fail. Yeah, you need all 7 steps, of course. All 7 steps need to go through and then the attack is successful. And if you manage to break one of those steps, you can defend yourself against similar intrusions. But the thing is, we don't have so many similar intrusions out there. Real hackers, they tailor their attack to the victim, so they don't just use out of the shelf stuff that we do. So if we install a firewall, it's nothing extraordinary. You buy it from one of the vendors and you install it, and that's it. It's the same firewall in many companies. But when it comes to cyber attack, those are custom made for your company usually. Defense techniques are also custom made, so this is what we are being paid for. Tailored cybersecurity for the company. Mm, Yeah, so far so good, but this idea of a similar intrusion, forget about that. You are not going to encounter a lot of similar intrusions. They are somewhat alike, but always they have a little their own catch to it. Okay, let's read about the goal now. This may involve data exfiltration, remaining in stealth uh, until a specific time. Yeah, so this is the beacon here, remaining in stealth until a specific time. That's the beacon that we looked on our last here, there, this one. This is how to stay in stealth and communicating to the owner that you're still alive. Then installing malware intended to disable or destroy systems. Yes, disable, destroy, data exfiltration. Sounds pretty good. There are more objectives, so you can now go to. We will see what the other sources that I found before I started the video. So I have like 7 tabs open here, and we will look through all of them. So it can also mean pivoting. Let me put this a little bit to the top. It can also mean pivoting towards higher priority targets or systems linked to the system they have compromised. Yes, so if you compromise a smaller company and that company has access to the bigger one, this is how you can infiltrate and cause damage to the bigger company where the real initial objective lies. Yes, pretty interesting. So I like this Cybele Angel and this Septipi. So this was a good start, I think. We have another one from EC Council, and I tried to squeeze it on the same page here. Um, let's see. There we go. So here we have something from. We put it here, and then we put the source. This is EC Council. You have seen this source already on one of the previous videos. Well, let's see what they have to say about action objective. So, after cyber criminals have developed cyber weapons, installed them into target network, and taken control of the target's network, they begin the final stage of the cyber kill chain, carrying out the cyber attack objective. Yes, pretty good. While cyber criminals' objectives vary depending on the type of cyber attack, but I want to click on that type of cyber attack because I found a similar link somewhere, but I think it's good. Threat intelligence, the most critical. Yes, yes, we go through that two type of cyber attacks. I like it. It's really it's really good if they give you these links easily. Some examples include weaponizing a botnet to interrupt services for distributed denial of service (DDoS) attack, distributing malware to steal sensitive data from a target organization, and using ransomware as a cyber extortion tool. Yeah, this is absolute okay. There's nothing to complain about here, so I will close that tab now to keep track of what we already looked at. Um, so now we look at this. So I think we have a good idea now about um, what this action objective is. We don't need to go into too deep into this, but now we look at common types of attacks. So I think this is also something that we might want to do. And first of all, let's copy this. Then let's copy this. Types of attacks. And this is again, this is the action and objective. So the type of attack determines what the objective might be. It's not necessarily the case, of course, but it is still one way to look at it. So now we will have a lot of reading to do. Um, but yeah, so that's uh, that's what it is. We will get through that. Then let me see. Let me see. So yeah, we start with this website again. I just copy cyber threat intelligence, and they start with malware. Uh, Let me see if I can. I think I can put even more on the screen like this. Let's see. Yes, looks good. So we have it now on the right side, let's say. I hope it's okay for you guys if the order is a little bit different. So, and we put this here. Perfect. And this is the link to that. And we make that a little smaller. Okay, so EC Council. And this falls into the domain of the threat intelligence. So if you are interested in topics like that, threat intelligence might be a good job for you if you like to think about that. So just ask yourself, is it fun or does it feel like a job? If it feels like a job, don't go there. That has been my definition always. You know, cybersecurity is one of the coolest topics that you can work on as a computer scientist, I think. Obviously, the AI hype these days might be pretty cool for some people too, but in general, I think the job we have is very enjoyable. But if it doesn't feel like that, as I said, consider to look for alternatives because there are alternatives everywhere. Don't shy away from looking and seeking them out. Okay, so as you can see, we have a lot of reading here, but that was to be expected. It's the same source as we had before, and let's start on the right side and see what they have here. And let's get one of those. So the most critical types of cyber threats. You already know that there's no shortage of malicious hackers waiting to get their hands on your most vital personal and business information. Yes, there's no shortage of hackers. That's a good point. I would like to uh, talk a little bit about that as well. Have you ever asked yourself, where do these hackers even come from? Are these evil people who are trying to disrupt the world? Who is that evil hacker, malicious hacker? There's a simple logic behind that. So we are firefighters, and whenever something is burning, we move out and we put out the fire, or we help. It's very this metaphor with the firefighting is you can use that. It does not fit perfectly, but still it is somewhat there. But we are more than firefighters. We also participate in the company before the fire breaks out. So this is something that fire workers don't do, right? They wait until something burns and then they go there and but our job is more than that. Our job is mostly in the preparation phase. Make sure that the fire does not even start. Have you seen this picture of the fireman standing in front of a burning house and letting it burn down in a controlled way? I always ask myself, I don't need these people in that way because um, when the house is already burning, you don't need them to look at it and put out the fire. It's not necessary. Instead, what you want to be doing is you want to do the preparation phase, and as a result of that, you can make sure that damage is prevented before it starts. And this is our job. This is what we are doing most often. Um, and this is where the metaphor with the firefighting breaks. These people, I feel like they don't protect the house. I mean, if you're a house owner, you will know that. When did you talk to a firefighter? Well, you don't. It's either too expensive or not practical. You won't do that. So you will call uh, the emergency service when the house is burning already. That's the issue. But how do I get to the firefighting topic? So imagine all houses out there are perfectly protected one day. We're talking about houses now, buildings. We went away from cyber. I want to give you example that is more easier to grasp. So you have then imagine all houses are perfectly protected and house fires practically never happen. Well, but what do these well-educated firemen do then? They are unemployed, right? Nobody needs them. Do you know what these people would be doing as a next step? They would start laying fires to get themselves a job again. This is what they would start to do. So it would start burning all of a sudden in places where you would never expect, and you would ask yourself, why is it burning there? I don't understand. Well, it's a firefighter who became unemployed because of fireproof technology. That's to be expected. Um, well, at least here in Germany, firefighters, they would not become unemployed. They would, I think, keep their job until retirement, but at least they wouldn't hire any new ones. Okay, so they wouldn't go out. But now let's think about cyber criminals. Where do they come from? Well, whenever there is a shortage of good jobs, well-paid jobs, according to the well education that people have in the cybersecurity, they can become cyber criminals any day because employees, or also me, I always have to choose, is it worthwhile doing my job? And I ask myself, is it fun? And I ask myself, is it well paid? And do I receive, like, am I being respected for what I do in my job? And if the answer to many of these questions is no, why not become a malicious hacker? And that's what we have in cybersecurity. We have always the situation that where the society is well advised to provide us with good jobs. If the society doesn't do that, this is this is where there's no shortage of malicious hackers. Yes, there is no shortage of these people whenever there is a shortage of adequate jobs for us. So it balances itself out. So as a result of that, you can expect that cybersecurity professionals, they will never run out of a job. They will not run out because there will always be enough people willing to switch to the dark side of cyber and become hackers. Because with our education, so look, I just went, or we together went through the kill chain with a positive mindset, with a mindset of protecting something. You can do the same game with a malicious mindset of hacking something. Same principle, same technology, same education. But that's a good, very good part of the sentence here. It's important. It's not just it's just not a couple of words to fill the area. No, they really thought about that, as it looks like. Yeah, but let's keep reading. So, waiting to get their hands on your stuff, with each new technological advancement comes a new batch of nefarious. I don't know that word, but I think nefarious, it's something like nasty, right? Cyber criminals ready to take advantage of it. Yes, new technologies are being exploited by cyber criminals. AI technology is being exploited by by cyber criminals now. That's what happens. For this reason, you should be aware of all the most critical cyber threat types you face today. Knowledge truly is power. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of these fancy knowledge is power. Look, a lot of people got killed for possessing knowledge. Martin Luther King or Aristoteles, they all have been killed by society because they had a little bit more than the average in their head going on. So yeah, knowledge is power, but knowledge is getting people killed for some reason every time and time again. Yeah, Edward Snowden, okay, he ruined his life by trying to be the good guy and blowing the whistle on practices at the NSA. So yeah, knowledge is power, but knowledge is suffering, and knowledge is death and ruining your life. There are enough examples like that, but Edward Snowden, that's really one of those heroes that he's now hiding somewhere in Russia, I think. So the Russians give him refuge, but this is obviously not the life that you wanted, right? I mean, you wanted to be a hero, you wanted to get a Medal of Honor and something, but instead you're being chased down by your own government. Um, yeah, that is what it is. Knowledge is truly power. Disagree. By understanding cyber criminals' tactics and how to anticipate them using threat intelligence. Yes, threat intelligence is anticipation. Also, good point. So EC Council is doing an outstanding job here, I think. Then you can learn how to prevent a cybersecurity incident from compromising your most essential information. And now they just go through the different aspects, and let's insert a picture of a cat again, because as we can see, it's a lot of reading, and obviously we want to distract ourselves a little bit. I think people who turn in one of the later videos in the series, I think when I first inserted a cat like this, I explained what I mean by that. But in one of the videos that came later, I didn't explain it. I just inserted the cat. I can imagine that this might be confusing to people, but you get the idea, right? It softens the wall of text a little bit, and this is what we try to do. Okay, but let's see what is malware. So we know what malware is because we watched the exploitation chapter. But what they write, malware remains the most prevalent type of cyber threats around. Prevalent is also one of those words. I'm not exactly sure what it means, but prevalent it's something like it is always there. Okay, something that is sticks around. Um, the English language is luckily of such a kind that even you don't know a word, if you just look by the context in which it is placed, you can tell with high confidentiality. No, with high confidence, you can tell what it means. So, but write in the comments when I mess stuff like that up. So I will certainly read those. So odds are you've probably already dealt with it in some form before. Yes, of course you did. So as a kid in the Windows 98 era, it was full of viruses. This was ridiculous. In the recent days, so this is a Windows 11 machine here, I feel like the pre-installed antivirus is doing somewhat of a good job. But back in the day, Windows XP, Windows 2000, Windows 98, 95, it was a nightmare. Okay, you would never do online banking. It didn't exist back in the day as well, but you would never do online banking on a machine like that. It was it was a machine for computer gaming pretty much. At least as a kid, as I remember, the Windows machine. This was just for gaming, and there you didn't care if there was a virus. Yes, steal the game, or the cyber criminal had no objectives on my machine. I felt like, but yeah. And then arrives suspicious link, email pop-up, another. Yeah, these pop-ups, they were everywhere. This is how you could tell that your system is doing some weird things, but we didn't care back in the day as kids. Ransomware, spyware, viruses, worms. Yes, exactly. So he can encrypt my computer game. I wouldn't care, and he can spy on me playing Age of Empires 1. Okay, so this was back in the day. This is how I remember malware, at least. Today it's a little bit different. I think it's hidden. We have fast machines today. So even this notebook that I'm recording on has 8 cores, I think. Yeah, no, it has 6 cores and 12 threads, something like that. So it's beefy machines these days, even notebooks, and that's why we wouldn't notice if there's a virus around. But yeah, distributed denial of service, we had that as well. So you conquer multiple small machines, and they all have a command and control channel, and then at some point, to orchestrate it, you give them the target IP address, let's say. And all at the same time, these machines are trying to access the website or that port. And naturally, the service goes down. So the availability of the service is no longer there. Because websites are not built to deal with millions of requests in 1 second. They are not built for that stuff. So denial of service attacks, they are linked to this command and control what we had. Yeah, and it's a popular attack. So you see activists doing that. Okay, so U.S. government websites have been hacked by not necessarily by people like Greenpeace, but by activists who are trying to protect nature. And whenever the government makes a decision that is against protecting the nature, it happened that uh, they did the denial of service attack against these websites. This happens every now and then. Um, yeah. Then you have phishing, of course. So we had these words phishing and vishing, and so phishing is simply sending an email with a malicious link and hoping them to click on that link, and then that way you get personal data, as it says, credit card information, banking passwords. Um, Phishing is just you have a website that looks real, like your bank, but it's not. Then you have third-party software. That's interesting. What is this? Third-party software helps to make the world go round by providing the site tools, services that bigger, more popular need to stay running. Google, Meta, Spotify connect to hundreds of these third parties. However, these software dependencies also make it much easier for cyber criminals to get the user data they want to exploit. Because these third party platforms are much smaller, cyber criminals know that they can acquire enormous amounts of information if they gain access to the internet giants through these less secure third parties. Yeah, got it. So I wish there were some examples, but what would be a third party? So I think a PayPal, for example. So many sites use PayPal, but PayPal is a giant as well, so you won't easily hack that. Or some RSS feeds, or some other integrations. What else might there be? You have news feeds sometimes on websites, or you might insert a feed to show the most recent weather, or podcasts you might also play, or radio you might play on your website. So I think those are all third-party software, and obviously you can exploit them. This is true. I can't think of better examples right now because, again, I never programmed third-party software myself, and I'm not a big user of these things. So personally, I use very little technology because the more you know about that stuff, the more you understand it's not worth the risk. So I don't have Facebook. I never had Facebook. I don't use WhatsApp or messengers in general. Obviously, I need an email address, so I have a Google account for this whole YouTube thing. Yes, I have that. But besides that, I don't have a smartwatch. Um, I use technology very fairly little where it's needed. So when I drive the car, I like to use my phone, um, Google Maps, for example, as a navigation system. Because in the cars, you might know the navigation system gets outdated quite quickly, and paying for a new card material or map material is expensive. So the easiest way is just to use your phone as a navigation system. So yeah, I use technology wherever it is really needed, but oftentimes Instagram, okay, do you really need that? TikTok, do you need that? I don't think so. Okay, and so I use the bare minimum. I watch YouTube, okay, and from watching YouTube, I realized that yes, these videos and this platform, it has some value. It can provide you with entertainment, but also with educational content, and it's easy to use, and it's fairly. I don't see much malicious things going on there. It's like the crowd is regulating the content, so I've never seen inappropriate content on YouTube because those type of content gets voted down. It gets blocked fairly quickly. Um, but yeah, so there are certain technologies that can be used, but for that reason, I'm not educated on third-party software because most of that stuff I don't use myself. Yeah, then we have here social engineering. We won't go deep into this, so take a look at the reconnaissance video in this series. So there we talked about social engineering a lot. It's reconnaissance is a big part of that. So Social engineering is going there in person, talking to the people, gaining their trust, and then gaining crucial information. This is what it means, and yeah, it's effective. People fall for that all the time. All right, then let's uh, let's move on with the type of attacks. So we didn't read it fully, as you can see. It's good. It's absolutely sufficient to do it like that. Yes. So we put it here now, like this. And the next what we have here is on path. So we have on path password attacks. Let's look at this. Let's make it smaller again, like this maybe a little bigger. Um, oh, and then there's already the bottom. Okay, great. Um, I like the bottom line. They make a little bit of self-advertisement here, but that's totally fine. They can do that. So the bottom line get get certified as a, and that's also, well, let me put it here. Yeah, I think putting it here is better. Like this. And there's the bottom line here. Becoming certified. Yes, and then let me tell you cyber exchange. What do they? Cyber threat intelligence. Let me click on that. EC Council, train and certify. And I want to just show you. I just want to show you the certifications that these people are offering. It's quite a lot. But here you have the certifications. This is what they mean by train and certify. I can recommend that as well. Getting certified is a good idea. There are people who say I don't need certifications, blah blah, but trust me, you need them. Okay, people without certifications, those are the guys that you don't want to trust your valuable assets. And this is constantly a fight just because they are too lazy and they're criticizing even the people who are certified. They're like, yeah, certification is not knowledge. And I'm like, fuck off, people. Certification is not knowledge, yes, but you got to start somewhere. One example to that is, so would you trust a person to drive your car from A to B uh, if the guy doesn't have a driving license? I mean, he will say, I don't have a driving license, but I still am a good driver, right? Well, a good point, but I still wouldn't give that person, uh, let that person drive my car. I would not even allow that person to park my car if it is one of those fancy hotels where you hand the key to the portier and he is driving the car to the parking lot for you. If the guy tells me he doesn't have a driver license, I would park the car myself. Same with cybersecurity certifications. There are people around there who say, oh, I'm a good cybersecurity professional, but I'm not certified. I don't need that. That's a waste of time. Yeah, so I say about a driving license. It's a waste of time. Do you remember how tedious it was learning all of these different signs and learning all of these questions that make no sense to get your driver's license? Yes, it was tedious, and by looking back, I would say most of that stuff I don't need today. But still, I want you to have a driving license if you want to convince me that you know somewhat how to drive a car. But even then, people are crashing their cars, even with a driver license, okay? So it's a start. And here, getting certified is a start too. So I have some certifications in the cybersecurity field, and I continuously pursue new ones. It's not a matter of age. You're never too old for certifications, but you should do them because you learn a lot and you learn it under a little bit of a pressure. So here we have a casual setup. We look at the video, no pressure whatsoever. But if you pay money for that certification and then you have a week where you study in class and there are other people and you can engage with them and talk to them. There's a trainer most often, a very knowledgeable person in the field, and there's a lot of motivation. And in the end, you have an exam to pass. And that convinces me a little bit more that you know what you're talking about if you have these things. And the EC Council is a pretty good, is a well known. I don't have certifications from EC Council, by the way, not even one. Um, but I have other ones, and maybe I will get one eventually. Because if I look at that list, certified encryption specialist. How about that? Isn't that interesting? SOC essentials, yeah. Certified incident handler, executive management stuff, yeah. Cyber technician, certified cybersecurity technician, yeah. So that's that's all not bad, I would say. Okay, but let's read now. So on path, I don't know that terminology on path when it comes to cyber attacks, but I saw that link already, man in the middle. So this is what they mean with on path, obviously. So cyber criminals pride themselves on exploiting any and every technological weakness they can get. Yes, pride. Pride is sometimes a motivation. Some hackers, they don't hack you for money, they hack you because they want to prove something to somebody. And you usually do that by hacking the biggest company you can get your hands on. So you don't get respect by the hacker community by hacking a small company that doesn't have any security in place. But if you hack Microsoft, Apple, Google, uh, you might end up in jail and you might end up with a well-paid job at these companies. I guess both. Yeah. Don't do it. That's the not a recommendation here, but this is what happened in the past sometimes to people. Okay. But one popular way to do this is uh, through an on path, also known as man in the middle. Yes, so I will not remember on path. Now that I know that it is man in the middle, I remember that old school term here. Um, so a man in the middle attack, a hacker inserts themselves into a two-way transaction, often an unprotected public Wi-Fi network, and uses malware to steal personal financial information from the user without the knowledge. Yeah, without the knowledge, that's the thing. So man in the middle, they sit on a network somewhere, they sniff your traffic, and they sniff the response from the server. They can insert packets in such a way that the data gets modified. For example, banking transactions. They can change the number. Um, Banks protect themselves with cryptography. They encrypt the channel. They have certain means of protecting themselves, but the logic is just altering the the bits and bytes of the communication in such a way that the outcome is beneficial to the hacker. That's what it is. Yeah, this is the man in the middle, and there are many variants. It's often has something to do with certificates. Okay, so you have hash values somewhere, you have passwords being passed around somewhere, and you grab these passwords and usernames, you grab the hash values. Golden ticket, silver ticket, Kerberos attacks, all of that stuff has something to do with man in the middle. Whenever you hear these buzzwords, just know it's a basic concept. Don't get confused by all of these terminologies, golden ticket, silver ticket. You can learn all of that, of course, but it helps to know that all of these attack techniques, they are all originate in the very simple man in the middle. That's what it is. Always bring things back to the simple concepts. Yeah, and then you have your password attacks. So your passwords, hash, reusing passwords. A password attack, a malicious hacker acquires a target's most frequently used passwords to gain access to the data. Yeah, so password reuse. You heard that you should not reuse your passwords, right? And you really shouldn't, but how can you how can you manage your passwords then if you don't reuse that stuff? Well, there's a trick, and I can make a video on that if you like. So about how to remember passwords. There are some memory techniques for that. You can use them. Okay, so we have now the common types of attacks, and as a last step, I just want to let me close the tabs that we have 20 common cybersecurity. I have Australian government here, but let's recorded future we have here. Yeah, we yeah, but I would like to show you recorded future too. So types of attacks. This is important. But then we go to the last step, protection goals. And here, recorded future, I would like to mention that source because those are also heavy professionals, and it would be a pity not to not have them on this video series. So here, this is what it is. Um, Not so much text as you can see. I keep it that big, it's fine. So recorded future is one of the threat intelligence vendors out there. They are well known in the industry. Let me show you an overview over the platform. And again, I don't do advertisement here, but I'm fine showing you this fine group of people who are created a business on this topic, and I think it's really this is what more people should be doing. We should have more companies in the cyber, innovative companies, and Recorded Future is one of those innovators, the same way as Google used to be. And here on the right side, you see their products. And one thing to point out here is they all end with intelligence. Do you see that? Geopolitical intelligence, payment fraud intelligence, third party intelligence. So here, before that, I mentioned that I have no clue about third party and what it is in terms of cybercrime. Well, maybe it helps to educate myself then here on this third party intelligence platform. And let's do that real quick. Let's do that real quick. So I just clicked on that link, and there's a nice summary text. It's here. And I want to give you the source as usual as well. Let's provide you with the source here then. Like this. And the source is this. Okay, let's read third party. Maybe we can educate a little bit here. Third party intelligence gives you an external view of your vendors and partner security postures. Get comprehensive real-time visibility into threats or breaches, malicious network traffic, and dark web attention. That's interesting here, dark web attention. I didn't mention it here yet, but I should mention it now. So you can look into the dark web yourself. Where was it? Dark web attention. The dark web is the place where you can buy and sell cybersecurity hacks. You can buy already weaponized packages to exploit the target. And in the dark web, you can see your company name as well. Because hackers, they are very transparent. They say, hey, you guys here have a hack for Microsoft. Well, for these big companies, you don't have it usually, because what happens? Well, Microsoft, Google, Apple, Amazon, they have a threat intelligence team, most likely. And these people are watching the dark web for their own company. And whenever there's somebody selling secrets about them, they might be the one buying that stuff. That's what you do. But this is if you're a big company, sometimes look at the dark web too to see if somebody wants to sell uh, hacker related stuff about you. Okay. Access intelligence from continuous monitoring of over 5 million organizations and compare risks across 1 million technology products. So these are the technology products, the third-party products that I'm not familiar with. To avoid unexpected exposures, protect your systems and assets and keep business running smoothly. Yeah, so warm recommendation here. If you are a professional, consider Recorded Future. I consider them. So I have seen Recorded Future. Some of our clients, they purchase the licenses, and that way we get to see it too. Um, and that way I've seen this technology some time ago, and I see it every now and then, and the value it provides is pretty good. Um, Keep also in mind that the, these vendors like Recorded Future, they have their ups and their lows. So, for example, CrowdStrike used to be the hottest stuff that there was around like 5 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago. But more recently, they make mistakes. So CrowdStrike was, for example, responsible for taking down the IT of entire airports because they pushed a non-functioning update on the CrowdStrike software. All of the hardware in the airports that relied on CrowdStrike, they installed that automatically, and then the systems went into a blue screen mode. It was a nightmare. I think it was last year in summer, if I remember correctly. Yes, it was summer 2024. And a lot of airports, they went down because of this. Went down for, I think, 2 days. It took them 2 days to become operational again because the terminal service where you hand in your luggage and the boarding procedure, it went down. CrowdStrike was, as far as I remember, responsible for that. That they used to be the hottest security vendor 3 years ago. So what I try to say with that is, yes, Recorded Future as of today is pretty damn good, but it is not guaranteed that they continue their good work because they are earning a lot of money these days because of that good reputation they have. And I feel like once companies obtain a certain wealth and the employees obtain a certain wealth, uh, they no longer work as hard as they used to, and the result is that the outcomes are worse than they used to be. Okay, but this much to that. So now let's read on the left side. Who are the top five cyber criminals? Oh, they have names here. Uh, Kevin Mitnick, Adrian Lamo. I don't know these names. I don't care about names of cyber criminals. I know the groups of them, like Cozy Bear or APT. We will go through those as well. Um, and who have all seen jail time for their activities. Yeah, they seen jail time, but they all Mitnick. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these guys is working for a high paid job in one of the bigger companies these days. Their criminal activities have resulted in significant legal consequences. I heard stories from the 90s uh, where people hacked Microsoft in the 90s, yeah, and they got they catch them and they got a simple offer: either you work for us or you go to jail. So those are the legends that you hear, the stories that I heard about. I don't know any of these people, but apparently back in the day, if you hacked a company, they would offer you a job. Uh, I don't know if today they still do that. I would certainly do that. If I catch a hacker, and I would certainly offer that person a job um, in exchange for jail time, because first of all, that person would be very thankful and you would have a loyal employee, I guess. But you got to talk to the people and see if they're what is the reason why they hacked something. Maybe they are truly evil, and maybe, but some of them are just utterly intelligent um, and utterly stupid at the same time, I guess. Yeah, whatever. So let's see. What is the difference between a hacker and a cyber criminal? Well, hackers are not necessarily evil. They are like these hackers who show you in a sandbox how to hack something, but they don't cause damage. And then they write a article about it for the world to see. They didn't cause damage, but they showed how it works. And then those are the good hackers out there. Ethical hacking is the word for that. Cyber criminal, there's nothing ethical about it. They cause damage to steal money. Let's see what they write. A hacker focuses on improving system security by identifying, yes, while a cyber criminal exploits those for personal gain. Yes, exactly. So personal gain, that's the difference between a hacker and a cyber criminal. The hacker is not they don't always get rich by what they do. Okay, cybersecurity is a well-paid profession, no question about that, but don't expect to get rich. Um, this is not an NBA sport. This is not a sports type of salaries. I mean, if you're well educated these days, you can make six digits. Yes, but you're not earning millions per year. Don't expect that. A typical really good salary in the Western, like in US, Germany, and Europe, if you are making 150,000 K a year as a cybersecurity professional, you can consider yourself lucky. Okay. If you're making around 70 to 90K, this is your typical cybersecurity professional with, let's say, 5 years of experience. And this is how it goes. And nobody can say that. I mean, it's certainly enough money to make a living. That's okay. You can pay your rent, you can go to vacation, you can buy education for your kids. It's all good. But it's not something that it's not how to get rich, I would say. Okay, it's an honest job, hard-working job. So don't go into cyber thinking you will get rich quick. It doesn't work like that. Okay, then what motivates cyber criminals? Cyber criminals are motivated by financial gain. Yeah, talking about getting rich quick. Okay, so cyber criminals they are also motivated by going into jail quick. Okay, uh, notoriety, notoriety. Ah, so notorious, being infamous, being feared. Okay, this is what they want. I can't pronounce that word. Notoriety. Yeah, no clue. Political or religious motives. Yes, so the Islamic State has a hacker division too. I didn't know that, but I researched it some time ago when I had to prepare an overview of the cyber criminals for a certain company that I worked for. They asked me, what are the criminals that we should be worried about? What are our typical adversaries? So I went out and I researched the groups that would be relevant for them, and religious. So the Islamic State was part of that. This is meant by religion, or a desire to cause disruption and chaos. Yes, so Anonymous, for example, this anonymous hacker group. I feel like sometimes they just want to make chaos. Because it's not always financial gain, but the anonymous group, they are very unpredictable and they have elite hackers in their groups. So if anonymous targets you, it's almost like a state-sponsored hacker. They are very, very sophisticated in what they do. You can only hope not to be ending up in their target cross. Yeah, these factors drive their criminal activities. But yeah, so it was well worth watching Recorded Future. And I'm looking at the clock here. We are 58 minutes into this video. So it looks like it is one of those. It is again one of those times when we take a little bit longer. But we need one more. So we need one more. Let me use the space in a meaningful way here first of all, because I do realize that after 1 hour the energy level, even for me talking here, my energy level is going down, but we need to cover one important aspect for today. This is the protection goals here. Um, this is also good, something that you will find. And also keep in mind, this is all action on objectives, right? So we looked at the types of cyber attacks. What does the criminal try to do? What motivates the criminal? This is all action on objective. It leads to that. Okay, if you're motivated by money or by whatever is here, this is what the last step is all about. And this last step, you can fulfill your motivation as a hacker. Yeah, but now let's look at protection goals. Because protection goals, this is a classic of cybersecurity, of course. Let me Google that real quick because I didn't prepare this one. Cyber security protection goals, and I hope to find a good source on that. Value of information, protection goals, okay. This is a performance goals. Yeah, it's the CIA triad. Um, Protecting goals. Isn't there anything from the BSE, maybe from the NIST? Yeah, yeah, so one moment, I have something now. So first of all, I opened up that one. 3 goals you should know. And it's that one. Let's copy it in. And there we go. Again, a lot of text, but that's what it is. So here we go. Let's put it on the right side as this appears to be convenient. And like that, like that. So these are the goals that we have. So let me copy this as well. So when we talk about protection goals, we have these ones here. Confidentiality, integrity, availability. Confidentiality means it comes from, uh, yeah, confidentiality means a secret communication. Okay, so encryption is part of that. Integrity means the information should be intact, not tampered with. So if you have a banking transaction and you want to transact $100 to somebody, you want to make sure it's $100 and not $100,000 all of a sudden. This is integrity. If a hacker goes in, tampers your communication, and the consequence, then your bank executes the order that you never wanted to. This is a classic example of back in the day, but there might be different other ones as well. And then availability. So we had this denial of service topic. Availability simply means making sure that your server is not being taken down by the denial of service attack. So you want to make sure that when you type in the URL of your bank, that the website is not loading forever and it shows up in a responsive manner. By thinking about these protection goals, you can also understand what might be the goal of the hacker. So does the hacker want to disrupt your system availability? Does he want to tamper with data integrity? Or does he want to steal confidential information? That's confidentiality. And you can always map that against the motivations of a hacker that we have here. Okay, so you can always think about if he has political or religious motives, it's most often availability they want to. So if a terrorist blows up a bomb, uh, the security protection goal is availability. Okay, the server, the building is destroyed, no longer operational. As a result of that, the services that have been carried out by that hardware or by that facility are no longer available. There are many other more examples. So, but this is I don't know that source. GVR Academy. Uh, let's see. Yeah, so feel free to read that text. It's nothing of it's nothing of surprising, but I try to meanwhile find more protection goals. Protection goals in cyber. I try to Google that. As it looks like it's not that easy to find something good. Um, but yeah, CIA triad is also part of that. Let's look at this. Yeah, let me give you the CIA triad. This is how they call it. And this is the same thing, but you will find that name time and time again. So here, this the source is this one. The CIA triad is this one. Um, and it's not CIA, the secret agency. It's really confidentiality, integrity, availability. And when I was younger, I thought the A stands for authenticity. That's another protection goal. And yeah, so for some reason I don't see um, these other goals, but be aware there are more goals than just these three. Okay, they are like protection goals, like non-repudiation, non-re non-repudiation. Yes, so yeah, so this is, for example, here something I would like to show you. Now that I mentioned it, another another protection, another thing to protect would be here non-repudiation. So sometimes you want to make sure that people cannot argue that they didn't do something on the internet. So, for example, when it comes to um, forbidden content or unappropriate content like child pornography on the internet, for example, and then you catch someone and you say, look, you possess that data, and he simply says, no, I never did that. That's the target of non-repudiation. You want to make sure that you have proof of someone's activities, and that in the end, for example, if you send out an email or if there is some sort of communication recorded, then you cannot say you didn't do it. And that's what non-repudiation stands for. In certain companies, this can be a protection goal as well, next to confidentiality, availability, integrity. Or another protection goal is authenticity. Authenticity. And I'm really surprised that I don't find a single website that gives you a list more with this kind of things. But yeah, they don't, it's not popular, it looks like, to target these other goals. OPSEC security, authenticity. But yeah, let's not go into authenticity. I don't find it. So this page here, protection goals, just keep in mind, CIA, very important. Um, this is what you protect. And cyber criminals, when they have an action on objective, it is tied to one of these protection goals usually. And just be aware of that. Yeah, so far so good. So we are a little over 1 hour now. I think let's not go any deeper into this topic. We have covered now the entire kill chain, and I forgot to change the date here. It's the 23rd now. So I think we started at the beginning of the month. It was the 8th of November. Now we have the 23rd of November. So roughly in 2 weeks of time, we went through the cyber kill chain here. Thank you for your patience of moving through this video series. So I think in total we have 8 hours of material, something like that. So the videos are typically 1 hour, one of them is 2 hours. So it's more than 5 hours of content to cover this kill chain. And as you can see, now 1 hour of time has passed. We went through a little bit of sources, we read through types of attacks, we looked a little bit of more types of attacks with certifications. Obviously, there are always side thoughts, so this certification thing is a side thought, but it's important. We learned about recorded future, how that can help us, and we went through protection goals, and there you go, 1 hour has passed. So as you can see, you cannot learn these things in 5 to 10 minutes. And whenever you see articles, or most often YouTube videos on that topic, um, just be aware, 10 minutes, even though it gets a lot of clicks, it gets a lot of attention, 10 minutes is not the time that you're looking for when you target cybersecurity education. So we're talking about, so we spent roughly like 7, 8, 9 hours on this now. and that's an appropriate time for a topic like this. Yes, so finally, I just want to say thanks for your time, for staying with me here, and expect more content to come on various other topics. Expect more content to come on the kill chain, because we learned about Mitre Tech. Let me find it somewhere here. It's over 80 pages by now. Here, Mitre Tech. There's a kill chain tool, so expect in the future content related to Mitre Tech, and expect all kinds of content that we have seen. So for example, this one right here, certifications, this will be part of the unpopular opinion series. We need a little bit of a clickbait as well to catch a little bit attention to the channel. And yeah, but there's so many things that we can dig into, and we will over time. Yeah, thank you for watching, and see you soon in one of these other topics that we will cover in the future. Goodbye.